Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. If you do not know, I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I welcome you this morning. I'm so glad you came to share your morning with us and with each other. And if you are new today, from the very bottom of our hearts to yours, we're so glad that you joined us. Welcome. And so let's start the service by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's what's happening here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to awaken to the fact that, yes, indeed, we are primarily spiritual beings. That one presence, that one power, that one life, that one beingness expresses itself in and through and as everything, and that presence also expresses itself in and through and as each and every single one of us. That means then that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. That what is true of spirit, what is true of that one infinite beingness resides within us, those same qualities, those same characteristics. That means if God is this essence that is the very essence of love, that love is innate to our beingness. If wholeness is the truth of spirit, then wholeness is what we are. That the peace of spirit, the love of spirit, the good of spirit already resides within us because it is innate to our beingness, because we are of spirit. And then what happens as we recognize that, and the more we step into owning that that's who we are, the more easily accessible it becomes to us. It's easier to bring forward peace in a situation where peace is not being expressed. It's easier to be love when people aren't being loving because we're not reliant on them, we're reliant on what's already inside of here. And as we do that, we bring something different to this world. We bring something that is healing, something that is restorative, something that heals us, and that has an effect on everyone and everything. And because we are all part of this wholeness and this oneness of life, it not just affects the person we're in conversation with, but it actually ripples out to affect the whole. And so I thank each and every single one of you for answering the call of your own spirit, your own heart, to be walking this path, to be bringing your light into this world in a way that is healing and restorative and beneficial. So I thank each and every one of you for that. So I have a question for you. Do you ever experience self-doubt? Do you ever have a sense of uncertainty or doubt in your ability to do something when you're doing something you've never done before, when you're doing something new? Do you ever have a hard time making decisions? Do you ever second guess your competency? You know, we all of us experience doubt sometimes. It's a normal part of living this human life, and it is a universal experience of being human. So the problem really is when we view self-doubt as a weakness or as a flaw, or thinking that something's wrong with us because we have self-doubt, rather than recognizing that it's just part of this human condition, part of being a human being. And I think that when we hold self-doubt as a weakness, sometimes what happens then is we hold our self-doubt in secrecy. We don't want to let other people see it for fear that then they might judge us, like we're already judging ourselves. And so what happens then is we don't necessarily show our authentic self to others. We just show them the part that we think we should show them, the part they want to see. And when we hold that self-doubt in secrecy, it can create shame. And that causes us then to isolate, which causes even more shame and even more self-doubt. And then sometimes when we're in a spiritual community like this one, we think we're supposed to be happy all the time. We're supposed to be positive all the time. Everything in our lives is supposed to be perfect all the time. So then we get caught up in looking good rather than being authentic and vulnerable and real and sharing the fullness of who we really are. Recognizing that we are human and divine. And because we are human as well as divine, because we are human, we have self-doubts. That's part of it. But what happens then is when we hold that in secrecy and we think we can't show the fullness of ourselves, then is we kind of get this idea that maybe this really isn't a safe place to show up and be who I really am. Or maybe this isn't a place that I can really be vulnerable and authentic. We think that we can't be real, but what happens then also is we can't be loved and supported and encouraged while we're moving through life, through the midst of the good and the bad and the messy, because sometimes life is messy. It doesn't leave room for us to actually be where we are in our life and to then grow from there. And then, we've talked about this, and then on top of all of that, we hold this erroneous idea that we're supposed to be perfect. And that keeps us in secrecy. So the problem really isn't then that we have self-doubt. The problem is that we're judging ourselves for having self-doubt in the first place. But here's what I propose to you. If everything in our life serves a purpose, and if God is for us, which means then life is for us, then what if self-doubt also serves a purpose? What if self-doubt is also for us and part of our journey toward wholeness? Ernest Holmes said, "The nature of God is perfect. Therefore, the will of God, which can never be divorced from God's nature, must always be a will toward wholeness, peace, poise, power, and self-expression." If that is the will of Spirit, then it must be for us. So having self-doubt isn't the problem, but when we get stuck in self-doubt, when we stay in self-doubt, when we become immobilized by our self-doubt, that then becomes a problem. And the reason it becomes a problem is because we are meant to grow. We are meant to unfold. We are meant to ever become more of who we are and the fullness of ourselves and to bring our potential to life. That's what we're meant to do. That's why staying stuck in self-doubt feels so uncomfortable. We have a need within us to grow and to learn and to tap that untapped potential. We have a need to discover who we really are, the fullness of who we are. And so the title of this message today is Updating the System. And I'm talking about that self-doubt contains the capacity already within it for us to grow, for us to discover more of ourselves, for us to give way to our own innate potential. Self-doubt also gives us the potential to have deeper connections with people, to have more intimacy, to experience a deeper love. it gives us the opportunity to be loved and supported and feel that we're loved by other people. And self-doubt also holds the potential for us to heal old limiting beliefs that no longer serve us and no longer support us in living our best life and in thriving. The way that I see it is self-doubt is kind of like standing on one leg. You know, you can stand on one leg for a time, but you can't stay there forever. And so when we are standing on one leg, or when we are in self-doubt, it causes us to do something. One is either to step forward. Two is to find something or someone to help support you, something to lean on, to ask for help, or three is to actually sit down or to sit back. And so let's look at those three things today. When we're in self-doubt, the first thing we can do is move forward. And one of the ways that we can do that is just to simply feel the fear that we have inside of ourselves and to do it in spite of the fear. You know, I learned a long time ago from a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway that every time we do something new, we have a comfort zone. It's like we have to step out of our comfort zone. But we step out and do that thing, and then our comfort zone gets bigger. And the next time something's hard and challenging, you step out again, and your comfort zone gets bigger. So every time you step out, your comfort zone gets bigger. So the thing is, you can actually push forward and feel the fear and do that thing, whatever it is, in spite of the fear, without changing it, without making it any different. Knowing that fear and self-doubt are normal when you're doing something risky, when you're doing something you haven't done before. You can step out and risk looking stupid. You can step out and risk making a mistake or falling down or failing. But when we do that, it actually causes us to grow. It causes us to learn new skills. It causes us to master things that we've never done before. And in turn, what happens? We gain self-confidence. We gain competency. We gain resiliency when we discover that when we stepped out in that fear, it didn't kill us. When we stepped out in that fear, whether we succeed or we fail, part of that resiliency is we realize we are okay. We are okay even here, even now, even in the midst of that thing. Either way, we grow and we expand and we discover more about ourselves. Ernest Holmes said, "To suppose that one must retire from the world to be spiritual is one of the greatest possible mistakes." Yes, we grow spiritually from sitting in meditation, from being reflective, from sitting in the silence, from listening within. We also gain and deepen our spirituality by doing things like stepping outside, even though we feel afraid, and stretching and growing, because we discover more of who we are. We discover our potential, and that is God potential in us. That is the presence of spirit that is limitless within us. So stepping out in spite of our fear helps us discover our potential and our strength and our fortitude and the I am presence within us. That I am presence that knows all is well, all of the time. Holmes said, "There is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. This is the only something that can make you whole. This pure essence is our divine spark. It cannot be lost, or damaged or diminished or destroyed on our eternal journey. What happens is we discover our wholeness. Whether we succeed or don't succeed or fall down 10 times on the way, we discover our wholeness. That's our spiritual wholeness. We discover that we can't stand on one leg, but that we have to do something. And so the second thing that we can do when we find ourselves in self-doubt, like I said, is to reach out. Reach out to grab on a piece of furniture or reach out to have someone help hold us. When we're in self-doubt, we can reach out for assistance. So there's a story that says, a man was walking down the street and he fell into a deep hole. The walls were so steep he could not climb out. A doctor passed by. The man called up, "Help me, I'm stuck down here." The doctor wrote a prescription, tossed it in the hole, and walked on. A priest came by. The man shouted, "Father, I'm down here, help me." The priest wrote out a prayer, dropped it into the hole, and moved along. Then a friend came by. "Hey, Joe, it's me, I'm down in this hole." Without hesitation, the friend jumped into the hole with him. The man said, "Are you crazy? Now we're both down here." The friend said, "Yeah, but I've been down here before and I know the way out." We reach out to someone that wants the best for us, someone that cares, someone that wants us to live our best lives. We reach out, one, maybe just so they can simply hear you and see you and understand you and love you in the midst of it. Or two, we reach out so they can actually support us and help us. Maybe they have some advice. Maybe they can show you how to do what it is. Maybe they know where to look and do the research. But instead of standing on one leg, we actually lean into something else for the support. So you can share your self-doubts and you can share your feelings with someone who cares. You don't do it with the person that's going to diminish you. You don't do it with the person that's going to put you down or give you a hard time. You do it with someone who is supportive and caring. That honesty and that vulnerability create deeper relationships and more intimacy and greater love. And in those relationships, when it deepens those relationships, what happens also in us is it creates greater self-acceptance. Because someone else supports us and loves us, even though we're not perfect. It creates greater self-acceptance and greater self-love. Is there anyone in this room that could use more self-acceptance or more self-love? That's what I thought. I have the right group then. Yeah, awesome. So we can ask for support, we can ask for help, for someone just to understand us or to show us how, but in turn, either way, we learn a new skill and we gain more self-confidence. So when I first bought my house, when you're young and you don't have any money yet, because you've just bought a house also, I had to do everything on my house. I couldn't afford to hire people from the outside to come in and do things like I can do now. I put drywall up in my garage. My girlfriend taught me how to install deadbolts. I did the electric screwdriver fixing the patio cover. She taught me how to change the windshield wipers on my car. All of those things were so empowering. So empowering. Of course I was nervous, I was insecure, but there was someone there to show me how to do it, to support me while I learned, and I ended up feeling so much more powerful and so much more self-confident. So when we have someone to support us and help us learn whatever it is we're trying to do, we end up winning, and we end up winning big. Risking doing something different changes us, regardless of what it is. And so the third thing that we can do instead of standing on one leg and standing in self-doubt is we can actually sit down. we can sit down and give up. A, we can sit down and give up. Or B, we can sit down and reflect and reassess. That means we can ask ourselves questions like, what is it that's keeping me from moving forward? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it because I don't know something that I can learn? Is there some limiting belief that I'm holding on to, probably that I picked up in my childhood, that's still running me? You know, things like maybe you were told you'll never succeed, or maybe you were told be careful, or that is not for girls, or you're not smart enough, or there's not enough money. You know, what's the belief that's keeping you standing on one leg and from moving forward? So we can stop and take time to reflect and to look at what is the belief that's causing us to be stuck. Is there an idea that I took to be the truth when I was a kid that I know now isn't the truth? It's an erroneous belief that I picked up? Is there something I know now that I didn't know then that I can actually replace that old belief with? You know, maybe something like, I am whole regardless of if I fail or succeed. Or that spirit is always on your side, always. That means spirit is always for you. Or the fact that you were created to flourish. Or the fact that you are capable and strong. You can replace that idea that it's too much or it's too scary with one of those beliefs. What do you now know to be the truth, with a capital T, that you didn't know then? And so I have a couple questions to ask you. The first one is there somewhere where I am experiencing self-doubt? And what is it? What is that self-doubt? What is causing you to stand on one leg right now and not move? Is there somewhere I'm experiencing self-doubt? And what is it? The other side is, what is this inviting me to do? What is your spirit inviting you to do through this? What's being asked of you or required of you? How are you being invited to stretch? This is called applied spirituality. How do I apply these things to my own life? And so what if then the purpose of self-doubt is to get us to move from where we're stuck? What if it's to get us to explore, to question, to seek a higher truth, to push through the darkness into the light? Because that's when we discover our greater selves, when we go ahead and step forward and do something, when we move. And so my invitation to you this week is to recognize that self-doubt is a natural part of being a human being. It is a universal experience that every human being that is living this life experiences self-doubt. And remember that everything serves a purpose or has the potential to serve a purpose. It serves a purpose There's a purpose for you, and most often that purpose is growth and expansion and self-discovery and doing whatever it is that needs to do so that you can live a greater life, your greater life. And if you're stuck in self-doubt, to know that you can move forward without changing anything, without eliminating your fear, without changing the way you feel about it. You can actually feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. That is an option. Knowing that your fear is okay, that your self-doubt is okay, to understand, and that it's understandable that you don't have to do anything with it, and your fear doesn't have to stop you. Your self-doubt doesn't have to stop you. You can still be in doubt and go ahead and do it anyway. To know that you can reach out for moral or physical or spiritual support when you are doing something, because you can't stand on one leg that long. Reach out for someone to support you, to love you, to encourage you, to give you information, and that you can sit down. You can sit down and quit, or you can sit down and sit back and reflect and reassess and figure out what's going on underneath the self-doubt so that you can discover how to shift that, how to heal that, so that you can discover a higher belief that can support you, so that you can discover some false belief that is really wanting to be dismantled so that you can live your best life, so that you can discover and fan the flames of your faith, knowing that even here I am being led and I am being guided, and that, capital T, that goes before me and assists me. Discover the idea that enables you to flourish and to thrive and to be your own greater yet to be. And as we do those things, or one of those things, the result is greater self-confidence, greater self-love, deeper connections with the people who support you, the ability to choose and trust who it is to invite to support you, and no longer stuck in your self-doubt, but instead gaining from that very experience. And so blessings to you on this path of your own self-discovery, on this path of giving way to your own greater yet to be, which is your own divine potential. So blessings to you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer as we take our attention from this world of form and all that is going on, and we put our attention instead on that invisible realm where the fullness of the divine is absolutely right there, recognizing that we too are in that realm and that that realm is in us, for there is only one. We are a part of that presence, and that presence fills our beingness because it is our beingness. There is no separation. There is no otherness. There is only this one power, this one presence, this one life, this one beingness. That is absolute perfect intelligence. That is wisdom and creativity and order and harmony and beauty and magnificence. That presence that is within us right now, that leads us and guides us and has the potential to do anything we could ever desire. And so I know right now that as we turn to that within us, we are expanded beyond this small human egoic self. that there is something much greater revealing itself through and as each and every single one of us. And so right now, it is leading us into our best life. I know this same presence expresses itself through the support and care of our friends, those people who encourage and want the best for us. It reveals itself within our minds and our hearts of a higher truth than the old limiting ideas we've been carrying with us. And so today we open ourselves to that highest truth, to inspiration, to living big, and to being our authentic full selves. And so I speak this word not just about us here, but every single person on this planet, recognizing and knowing that the fullness of that divine presence is right where they are. And right now, it is unfolding itself, fulfilling whatever the need is. For it is a presence of abundance and of good and of love and peace and wholeness and power. And right now, it is unfolding itself in the life of each and every single person. That they are led and guided. That the windows of heaven have already opened themselves and are pouring out a blessing so great that we are each fulfilled. And I speak this word, of course, for every single world leader, every politician, every decision maker, every voter, every citizen, knowing that there is something from on high that is revealing itself through each and every single one of these people right now. Something from on high that is a love intelligence. And it is larger than any seeming problem or issue that we have ever had in this world. And right now, it is having its way. It is leading and guiding and acting through each one of these people, bringing peace and harmony and unity, for love is the way. And so we lean into love today and hold that to be this force for good. And so I release this prayer into that creative law of the universe, knowing that it is revealing itself and unfolding itself right now, simply because we have said yes to that, and because that has always been present. And so I release this prayer in gratitude, and I say, and so it is. So I have a couple of invitations for you as a way to participate in this family. One is, normally on the 5th Sunday of the month, we are not here. We do some sort of a community outreach, which we are doing the last weekend of this month, but we're doing it on Saturday rather than Sunday. So we will not be here Sunday, but if you would like to participate, we are doing a beach cleanup. We are joining a bunch of other people at Winipero Beach. It is from 9 to 11. You know, when maybe you can start talking with your friends. Do we want to show up at 9? Olivia was telling us last week that we really only do it for an hour or so. Do you want to show up at 10? Do you want to do it from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11? Whatever. So talk to your friends. You know, we might want to carpool over there. So talk and decide amongst yourselves, and someone tell me what you decide. Our Sunday talks are available on our website and on our YouTube channel. They land in your mailbox usually by Tuesday. If you aren't getting them, if you somehow aren't on our email list, will you let me know? And we have prayer support after service. If you would like prayer, we have prayer shawls that have been created in that energy of prayer. The practitioners are happy to pray over it for your specific desired outcome, and you can gift it to yourself or to someone who would like to be wrapped in that energy of prayer. And we invite you to help us grow on social media, to follow us on Facebook and to like the postings and to share the postings, and follow us on Instagram and check in on Meetup and say you're coming. I don't know who checked in this week, but yes, I think it was Friday or Saturday, said, oh, it was only me and I think Marsha were the only ones coming today. check in. You can go, Mike, how many can you do? Like 7 in a row? You can go and check in for each couple months. You can go and you can say you're going all those weeks, and then you just have to do it once. But it lets people know that it will be more than 2 of us here. And so I invite you to repeat after me. Good fills my life now.
Good fills my life now.
I recognize it.
I recognize it.
I savor it.
I savor it.
I love it.
I love it.
And I live it.
And I live
And so it is.